Well, hello again there, guys. Brian here, the three topics I'm here to share for you. Know one of my 3TG movie reviews. This time I'll be giving you my thoughts on the newly released and highly successful latest entry in the Spider Man series. This one being titled Spider Man Across the Spider Verse. Now, before I begin, I would just like to say if you happen to enjoy this review by the end, please do not forget to like, share, and subscribe. Keep track of me and all my future reviews. Remember, if you have any ideas for future discussion, rankings, or reactions, let me know in the comments down below, and I will try to get them up as soon as I can. Now, I'm sorry this review is a little bit late. This really is the earliest I've been able to actually talk about this film just because of my two-job work schedule. So everyone knows about this movie's success. It had a massive opening box open weekend. It has gotten massively positive reviews from both critics and audiences. So I can just come out and say that, yeah, I'm with them. I absolutely love this film. Easily one of the greatest Spider-Man films of all time, and probably the best movie I've seen so far this year in 2023. I'm just gonna go just a little bit in depth of what I thought of the plot, visuals, things I liked, and then maybe the couple little issues I had with it. So the primary story takes place about a year after the events of Into the Spider-Verse. Miles has grown up a little bit. He's had about a whole year to be the Spider-Man of his world. He's really gotten used to it. He's still trying to balance being Spider-Man and then, trying to maintain his relationship with his parents as well as getting ready to go to his school in the near future. While that's going on, Gwen from the last film has had a couple of issues that has put her in conflict with her father, and basically kind of based off of her like how she got started. And what happens is she eventually gets contacted by this team of Spider-Mans that are kind of monitoring the Spider-Verse, and they recruit her in order to go to Miles's universe to track down a certain villain who has the ability to kind of jump between different dimensions. And apparently this is a villain who has an issue with Miles because Miles accidentally helped create him, and he kind of wants to be taken seriously. So Miles then follows Gwen back to a different dimension, and it gets a little confusing. I will say that. But overall, it works. It's just that there's a lot going on. Now, I will say this: I thought that the voice acting performances across the board, everyone did a fantastic job. I thought the visuals, amazing. I mean, there's something about animation that live action just can't capture. The different styles of universes that we get to explore is amazing. Seeing the different variations of Spider People is amazing. There's so many Easter eggs. There's so many references. There's so many different connections. It is the ultimate combination of Spider-Man goodness all wrapped into one film. Having said that, where I do have a couple issues with the film is that sorry. Though the story is good, I don't think it's nearly as focused as Into the Spider-Verse. Into the Spider-Verse kind of showed how Miles as Peter Parker got killed, and then he had to kind of take up the mantle, and he got to work alongside other Spider people and find his own path. Now, while they still try to continue that, I just think it was a little bit messy because there were so many things going on. You had Miles having to deal with this brand new villain. You had this Spider-Man group trying to convince Miles that he had to do something because it was destiny. And you had another plot at the end. So there was a lot of things going on. So this was a 2 hour plus film, and I think the time was needed for that. And this is only part of two parts. So they're trying to make a trilogy of this with the sequel, I believe, called Beyond the Spider-Verse, set to come out early next year. So it set up a lot of things, and there was a lot of things going on. And I think that while the story was much more deeper, it was a little bit hard for me to follow just because there was so much going on. It wasn't bad. It was just a little unfocused to me. Still fun. I mean, trust me. Action scenes were great, especially with the visuals, the different characters they were introducing. I love how they introduced different characters, how they would introduce them, show a little bit about them, and then kind of show a little bit about their origins. I absolutely love that aspect of how they were introducing these new Spider people. It's just, I wish it was a little bit focused And there were a couple of moments that I think where characters did stupid things that could have easily have been avoided. However, one criticism that I've always had with Miles as a character, I think as a character, he's fine. But one thing I'm kind of annoyed about Miles as a Spider person is how he seems to be like the most powerful version of Spider-Man I've ever seen. I mean, that was like my biggest problem I had with Miles in the PlayStation 4 game, was that playing as him wasn't nearly as fun as playing as Peter, because Peter was so much limited, so he had to do more with less, as opposed to Miles, who is like OP as heck. And because of that, he seems like way more powerful than any other Spider person in this film. And he's able to outsmart and outmaneuver and outstrength and beat all these different people as Spider-Man. I was just like, for someone who's only been Spider-Man for 1 year, for him to be the most powerful version of Spider-Man I've ever seen is a little ridiculous. But that's a problem I've had with Miles as a Spider person. Not as a character, but just being a hero. Is that he just seems so OP. And that is continued in this film. And because of that, it kind of removed the suspense around his character. Now, maybe that'll get fixed in the next film, because I will say this, the ending of this film was something I did not see coming. I'm someone who likes to pay attention to the little details, and there was like a number of details that went right over my head. So the ending was really probably one of the best endings for a Spider-Man film that I've ever seen. It set up a direction that I never would have expected. So that makes me even more excited to see where the story will go when Beyond the Spider-Verse comes out sometime next year. But despite these kind of minor flaws that I had with this film, this is still an incredible film. I absolutely do plan on seeing it a second time, maybe even a third time in theaters, just to see if there were little Easter eggs or little references that I may have missed, because there were so many spread throughout this film that were coming at such a fast rate that unless you're like the ultimate Spider-Man fan, you probably would have missed them too, or unless you go on YouTube and find a different video. But I had a fun time with this film. I'm absolutely excited for all the success that this film has gotten so far. So if I had to give Across the Spider-Verse just a grade rating, I would easily give it an A-. I would say at this point it is easily a top 5 favorite Spider-Man film of all time. I'm gonna think a little hard if I would say I like it more than Into the Spider-Verse. I'm not sure if I would go that far. There are definitely some aspects that I liked more in Into the Spider-Verse than Across the Spider-Verse. So I kind of have to take it by an element basis, but this is easily by far one of the best Spider-Man films ever, and by far the best film that I've seen this year. So those are my thoughts on Across the Spider-Verse. If you have seen this film, let me hear your thoughts in the comments down below as well. And like always, thank you guys for watching. You're awesome, and I'll see you next time.